Let's talk. Talk about the things that mean so much to you and me. Let's talk.
And here's your host, Henry Benefield.
Hey everybody, welcome to another exciting program of Let's Talk. As you've just heard, this is Henry Benefield coming live to you today. Before we get started, I want to thank everyone for all the accolades and reports and how much you guys enjoyed the show. Again, it has always been a focus of us here at Let's Talk and Waycross Media to provide information and just opportunities to people where normal programs do not provide that. Just want to let you know we have two guests today. I have Mr. Anthony Jarrell from SOS Save Our Sons and also from several other organizations, which you're going to hear in just a moment, have some interesting topics and discussion about some things that's going to be going on in Cincinnati. Also, I have my wonderful friend, Miss Angelita Marino-Jones, which is going to be on the program right after our interview with him as well. She is CEO and she's also the president of Eastern Personnel. I'm very excited to talk to her. She has some opportunities coming up for us. She has actually helped a lot of people, not only in Cincinnati, but out of the state of Ohio as well. So again, she's going to be coming up a little bit later. But before we get into Anthony Jones, I do want to let you guys know about an event that's going to be coming up. Write this down. It's going to be July the 29th, where we're having Legends of Music Award. What that simply means is that the 100 Plus African American Men's Chorus, along with Quinn Chapel AME Church, has decided to do a program where they're honoring musicians and musicians alone. Traditionally, awards and honors are given to writers of music, singers of music, musicians, choirs, and many, many other pastors and things. But we've taken this time to honor those important musicians that have dedicated a lot of time. Some of our honorees have been playing for over 70 years, and certainly they are entitled to get an award in reference to that time, and many, many other years as well as that. So July 19th, Quinn Chapel AME Church, 5 o'clock. It's open to the public. There is no charge. It is a fundraiser for the 100 Plus African American Men's Chorus. All proceeds go to send underprivileged youth on the Black College Bus Tour. That's going to take place again one more time, July the 29th at the Quinn Chapel AME Church located in Forest Park, 5 p.m. in the evening. It's a musical concert, so you get a chance to enjoy all that great music. Again, that's 5 p.m. on July the 29th. Well, as I told you earlier, we're going to be talking to my friend Anthony Jarrell in a pre-taped section, and I think you guys are going to really enjoy this. So take a moment and enjoy this. Get your pens and pencils out because you know there's a lot of information involved. Thank you for tuning into Let's Talk. So listen, welcome to the program.
Yes, sir.
Anthony Jarrell. And again, I just wanted to let you know how excited I am to have you here today. Okay. I know you guys are very, very busy working with your organization and stuff. First of all, introduce yourself to America, who you actually are and who you're actually representing, because you're working in many genres, working with many different organizations. Some folk may have seen you here, may have seen you there, but today you're here representing?
I'm representing Omega Mentoring Youth. We started off back in 1986 working with 6 young boys incarcerated at Buckeye Youth Center.
Okay.
And from that point to today, 2018, we've grown for the last 31 years, working with youth, giving them a chance to understand life, because most of our kids don't have a father figure.
Sure.
So a mentor actually, I won't say take the place, but it steps in time of need.
Sure. So I know you guys have been together for a long time, but there was something that happened when you first got started. What inspired you to do this, to take up the banner and just be concerned about young African-American youth?
Well, I coached at Hughes High School in 1984.
Okay.
And I was a wide receiver coach. And every day after practice, my wide receivers would be standing around. So about the third day, I said, what are you guys doing? You know, why you not doing anything? Where's your father at? Yeah. All 6 had no father. So I immediately took...
Or at least an active father. Right?
Yes, active father. I took those 6 guys, and for the next 2-3 years, we hung out.
Wow.
Didn't know what I was doing at that period of time, but that was mentoring.
Wow.
In the road.
So, not typical, well, it's typical stereotype, man, you don't want to be bothered with those young guys. They have guns and they have this and all that stuff. I mean, what really, give us the focus, because I do believe, man, that there are folks that have the same type of a focus or mission that you have, but are afraid to make that step. And I know there's something that happened within you that transcended you from just looking at the situation, wishing something could happen, to stepping into the situation and making something happen. So I mean, let's talk about that, because I do believe there's a lot of other African American men as well that can make a difference if we just pick up the charge.
Well, the great thing about it is that we have an opportunity as a community, but as a male community, to, like Obama had a program out called My Brother's Keeper.
Okay.
And that's part of what we're looking at, that if your father is gone, it's our job as black men to take up the responsibility to help raise you.
Sure.
So my thing came back because my dad was always in my life. Wendell Young is my uncle, and Senator Bill Bowen. I had those men around me.
Right.
Our boys don't have that.
Sure.
So when I realized that they weren't there.
Or active men.
Active men.
Men are everywhere.
Yes, but active men.
There you go.
Right. Doing the things that a man should do with his son.
Okay.
Okay. That's how we got started, understanding that there was a need, tremendous need, on a daily basis of young black men not having a role model besides the streets, besides the drugs, besides the rap music.
Sure.
So we decided to put together or make a mentoring youth and move forward with recruiting and training mentors to help these young black men overcome obstacles that they have in their life with no role model in front of them.
Sure. And I know there are different levels. There is a minute level of mentoring, and there's a major level of mentoring. Because, again, I'm really trying to bring the point home to a lot of these guys. It doesn't take a whole bunch to make a difference in a young person's life. But, I mean, let's talk about some of the, even if it's just a minute way, but having a mind to make a difference by mentoring some of these kids. And I think we were, not you, but we were having a conversation, man, the other day with some of the seniors.
Okay.
I work with us in a senior division, and I was explaining to them that our generation had people that were positive role models that said, man, don't do that.
Right.
I remember my father saying, boys don't hit girls.
Right.
So I never had an idea to raise my hand up, because I got that at a very, very early age.
True.
But today, who's telling the young brothers that boys don't hit girls?
Right. That's true.
Or those pertinent things that we needed to make us the quality men that we are today. I mean, expound on it, man, because I want to hear it, because I know you have went through it, seeing minute input, medium and major input in the lives of young African American, not only males, but young African American youth as well.
Right. Well, the whole thing that we're actually starting right now is dealing with the faith of our youth.
Okay.
They don't have any.
Wow.
And that's the first start of our program, because we are a not-for-profit, faith-based program. And we have a new program now called Bringing Children to Christ Through Mentoring.
Okay.
Okay? And that's a part, if you look at the part that Jesus played when he came on the scene after 30 years, that he gathered men together to work. We don't have young men that can gather men together to help them work.
Sure.
So the mentoring piece is very important, but the very important part is, like you said, praise. Our boys don't praise. Our boys don't go to church. Our boys couldn't get in.
And why do you think that is?
There's no role model to take them there.
Okay.
We came up in the era where you had to go to church.
Sure.
It wasn't. You had a suit.
Sure.
Our boys don't even have suits.
Sure. So we know the need is there, but let's talk about why do you think that African American males, even the ones that are active in their kids' life, may not necessarily be, preaching what you're saying, not necessarily preaching from the pulpit, but making the statements to the kids that this is necessary to make you into a quality human being. Why do you think that this exists in our culture today when it didn't exist, 20, 30 years ago, 20, 30, 40, or 50 years ago? Why do you think it exists today where men are not as concerned about the points that you bring in your mentoring?
Because like in our era, we had a father. Young boys now who have babies never had a father to teach them how to be a father or to be a man to their son. So it's a generation thing where if you don't have anything to use as an example, you're going to take the best things out there. So most of our men who are fathers never had a father.
Well, what about the ones who are their grandfathers?
Those are missing too.
Well,
I mean, you know,
I wouldn't agree with that.
Well,
I think there are a lot of grandfathers of perhaps the active grandfathers that are taking the role you are taking may not exist, or as many may not take the role. My concern is that just like you took up the mantle, other folks can take up the mantle who is just as qualified, but there's a reason, or probably a reason why they're not. And I wanted to look at, in case someone is looking and saying, well, you know, I could, but, you know, all those question marks and things like that. So, again, going back to the point, why do you think this exists? I'm not talking about the actual you, but the ones that could be the mentors, the one that could be the big brothers or the big sisters, but yet there is an active role. Do you think that it's, you know, our group of African Americans have gotten selfish today? Do we not care about the kids anymore? Have we not felt the importance of passing on these type of good manners and character forming issues and things like that? I'm interested in finding out from your perspective.
Well, the great thing about ours is that we are ran and operated by African-American men and women. And we're one of the only few that's in Cincinnati that's been around as long. So people don't really know. Like your position now with this show gives an opportunity for those who don't know that there is an African-American mentoring program out there that's been around for years to even be involved with. So part of my thing is to say thank you, because this is an opportunity for the question you asked for people to know we are here.
Sure.
And a lot of it's just that they don't think they have the time. But when I explain to them, you have time to go to the club, to the bar, to the gym. Our kids need a little bit of that time too to make a difference.
I agree.
Yeah.
We had an event one time, and we were in a very beautiful church, and I asked everyone to look at the wall, and the wall was made out of different bricks. And I asked everyone in the church, this wall is a powerful wall, it's holding up the building. But can anyone tell me, out of all those bricks that were in the wall, which one was least important? So my point that I'm trying to make, and of course they said all of them are important because they help to make the wall. My point again is that you're a brick in the wall, but what about the other bricks that make the whole thing, your points, stronger for the black community? To empower us to understand that just like Mr. Jarrell actually took up the mantle, you can do it also. And that's what I'm more or less, I know you guys are doing it, but I'm kind of saddened to not hear more of folks like you doing it, that have the ability to do it, that are not focused on doing it. And I'm not trying to hog up the conversation. I'm really trying to get to a point, because I think in you is that little spark that will inspire somebody else to do what you're doing.
Well, you can't, a frat brother of mine named Benjamin Crump, who's part of our program called Save Our Sons, he held a event here this summer talking about the jury box. He talked about all these incidents with black men across the country getting abused by the police officers, but getting to courtroom and the police officer getting acquitted or not even found guilty. Well, he talked about you can't get a verdict if you're not in the game. People don't understand that if you got to know the rules, okay? If you're not registered to vote, you can't be for jury duty, so you can't complain. So part of the thing, you can't talk about the youth and you're not in the game and try to help them. That's all motive is, okay, you got to get in the game and make a change. You can't stay on the outside. Philadelphia Eagles won a Super Bowl game this year, okay? Players got a trophy, owners got a trophy. Cheerleaders, water boys, and fans, because they wasn't in the game. So our motive is, get in the game, you can make a difference. Still on the outside, you're just watching the game being played.
Wow, that's a good summary.
Yes, sir.
You know, because we do have a lot of cheerleaders, you know, a lot of water boys and things like, oh, you know, you can do it, but it's them. And I'm always amazed at the fact for people that can definitely make a difference in people's lives when they use the term they.
Right.
They.
Yes.
Well, you know, they and they did, they, you know, they rather than we or I or us. It's always a they. And I guess I'm really trying to get to the point where folks who feel disconnected can become connected. Let's talk about the importance of what it is that you're doing today with a lot of the youth. I know there is a goal that you guys have as far as trying to reach as many youth as possible. But let's talk about, I mean, that perspective as far as what is your purpose? I mean, to do what with the youth, to make them, I mean, I know the answer, but I guess.
Well, the main thing now is I want to first of all thank the Cincinnati Police Department, because we have a grant that's dealing with drug abuse. And part of our community, which you know, and it's not nothing that's under the cover, is that we have a youth and an adult, but we have a community drug issues. So we have a grant right now that goes into the community to teach young black kids prevention and intervention when it comes to drugs. We definitely have a point where we want to make sure that our graduation rate goes up.
Okay.
So we have tutors, okay? We have a workforce development. I was talking to the young lady today that our youth don't have the mentality like we had to get them to go to work. You know, and part of our program is to teach them to go to work. You can have a job, but go to work.
Sure.
And then also to manage your money.
Sure.
Yeah, we just partnered with Mr. Orlando Waters and Robin Woods on a youth entrepreneurship program. Mm-hmm. You remember, if you didn't, the young men that was in Philadelphia who were at Starbucks, mm-hmm. who got arrested for no reason. One of them was our fraternity brother, where they convinced Starbucks to have a $200,000 funding for the city of Philadelphia for entrepreneurship. Mm-hmm. Our program is geared to help young kids be entrepreneurs.
Sure.
So, yeah.
And, you know, the interesting part about it, because we're kind of directing another path, but mm-hmm. we talked about, on our show, on this show, we talk about everything. That's why we call it Let's Talk.
Okay.
One of the perspectives is that not in conjunction with, but yes, it is in conjunction with what you just said, mm-hmm. but empowering not only young African American people, but folks who are in business mm-hmm. to know, like what you said, the game of business. Mm-hmm. Of course, you know, in many cases, we criticize our businesses much harsher than other folks' businesses. Yes. But the bottom line is that when you go into some businesses, that less than excellent rate does exist, mm-hmm. and they expect because you look like them that mm-hmm. you will accept it. Mm-hmm. Not understanding that business is a global versus a community. Business mm-hmm. is business. You know, if it says we open at 8, we open at 8. Mm-hmm. You know, if we have such and such, we do such and such and such. We have yes. quality, we have clean, those kind of things. So I guess the point I'm making, do you guys also empower the youth to understand the principles of business, the order, respecting time, and the many, many aspects of having a business as well?
Yeah, well, that's part of our workforce development. See, the one thing that separates us between some of the other mentoring programs, I don't want to mention any names,
sure.
is that we have to surround our young kids with wraparound services, from drug intervention to workforce development to financial literacy.
Sure.
We even partnered with a doctor that's in D.C., dealing with guns and violent intervention, because sure. we have a lot of youth that are angry,
sure.
and they're acting out against each other. Mm-hmm. So part of that is teaching young kids how to control anger. And one of the things I do want to talk about too is we have an issue that we want to talk about, and that's our mental health when it comes to our kids. Mm. They've gotten abandonment issues, Henry. I mean,
what?
Abandonment issues.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Okay, and then we also have high rise, which we're actually bringing out now, molestation for our young girls and boys. Those are the issues we bring out in our kids' lives.
Sure.
So now we really focus a lot on what is it that we can do as a mentoring organization to help you be more successful. Because they sit down, take your trash out, make sure you get good grades. But what is it that we can listen from you to tell us to help you?
Sure.
So our program is geared to listen to the youth, their voice. When you got up there, Let's Talk, God gave me a vision one day dealing with how do we get people involved. I was at the gym, and I seen 4 men working out. And God said, talk to them.
Sure.
So I walked up to him and said, "Black man, let's talk." And I got 4 mentors out of that conversation. Wow. So
now you're more than welcome. Let me just tell you now, you're more than welcome to provide a platform for discussions, whether it be youth or mentor or community.
Beautiful.
Under the term of Let's Talk.
Let's talk.
I think that's a major issue because people do not talk anymore. They speak, but they don't talk.
Well, especially as black men. We hold stuff in, you know that.
Well, yeah, but the bottom line is there really a format for us to talk? And as you said, you gave those 4 men a format to talk rather than just to speak. Because, of course, you know, that powerful, strong, you know, some people just want to be heard, but they don't want to really talk. Talking is listening as well as speaking.
Yes, sir.
You know, which is what we're doing here today.
Yes, sir.
Having the conversation. So you're more than welcome to use this format to discuss, and certainly you would have the support of everyone at this organization as well. But it's encouraging to have something like that, because I found with clear understanding that it does make a change.
Yes, it does.
You know, I've watched shows after shows, some of the, I think it was Jerry Springer or somebody, and the person was really ridiculously crazy in the beginning of the show, and then all of a sudden when the audience stood up on the truth and says, no, you're terrible, and then they cry, you know, and they come back later and says, well, I didn't know that I was crazy until I came on the show, and the people booed me, and now I saw where they were coming. That's conversation. You know, when before they didn't have that conversation. So certainly welcome to do that. But some of the things, other things that you're doing as well in your organization is?
Well, we're blessed. My fraternity, Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, our president, Graham Bosley, Brother Antonio Knox, executive director Kenneth Barnes, believed in me in 2013, and Brother Rozier with Omega Charities asked me to develop our national program, which is very much my vision in 1986 to be part of a national organization and get involved with the youth on the national level. So one of the things that we're doing now is our national program is called Save Our Sons.
Wow.
And that's a problem. I was talking to some men the other day. The word at risk has been thrown around in our community of youth. Well, part of at risk they're using is that they're building prisons on 4th grade young black males efficiency tests.
Wow.
Well, I had a...
Say that again. They're building prisons on...
4th grade Afro-American males efficiency tests.
Wow.
Well, that's at risk, but when you really look at it, if you're a kid born and the father's not cutting the umbilical cord, you're at risk right there. He's not even around to cut the umbilical cord. So part of the program is to give our young men responsibility for your actions. And part of the problem is we're leaving a lot of young girls by themselves. So our program is geared to give young men manhood. Your job is to be a man for whatever you do and be responsible for what you do. So our program is geared to teach young men.
And I want to be fair. You know, this is coming, you know, right after Father's Day. But I want to be fair because in many cases, the father or the African-American male is always the one that takes the joke. I remember being in a school, not Sunday, but a church one day, and the minister was telling the young lady, you know, you need a guy that has a job and et cetera, and blah, 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 and you don't need so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so. And I was a little bit disappointed because he never went to the female.
Got you.
And I guess the reason I said he never went to the female because relationships are equal. It's two people involved in a relationship. And I reflect upon my grandparents where it was my grandfather, you know, back in the day that really could not get the job he wanted to get. And he came home and he walked the streets like crazy trying to do whatever he can to take care of the family. But whenever he came home, my grandmother never ever tore him down. He didn't have a regular 9 to 5, but he had a desire. Every time he felt defeated, she was the one that encouraged him, said, baby, we can make it. You know, I've got some potatoes over, we fine, I'm going to feed the kids, but she never ripped him down. And so in support of what we're doing today in the discussion, this conversation is not to tear down black men, but it's actually an inclusive to say, come on out, let's join us in this process of empowering the youth, our youth, if it's but nothing but the youth in our families. You know, we don't have to necessarily go out in the community, but start somewhere.
You got them at your house.
Yeah, a bonfire starts with only a strike of a match, you know, but at least let's strike a match somewhere because we can definitely make a difference in the lives of not only young African-American men, but the whole community itself.
Well, that's our responsibility, you know. And part of our program is to enhance the mother. One of the things that we do that most organizations, when it comes to youth, we have a parent engagement. I can't take a kid, Henry, and give him a mentor and clean him up and he go back home to the same mess.
Absolutely. Or But this case can, and I guess I'm being a little defensive because I'm not being anti anybody, but I want to also bring up the point that there's unity and strength, and the power of the collective, and it's almost not your case, but it's almost coming out like there's so many men that don't do anything, African American men that don't do anything. Well, that's a lie because you're doing something. I'm here today. So if that was a general category, yeah, that would exist. But I'm involved with an organization called the 100 Plus African American Men's Course. And these guys do a lot of effort to reach whatever you want to call them, at-risk youth.
Okay.
But they, in many cases, they don't get praise for it or get recognition for it, which is the same thing, because the media is so negative. Every time we see the news, they have this very long image of this African-American person that may have stepped on a quack or something, and it's really, they get the worst picture in the world to show the image itself.
Yes.
I'm going to bring this point open because I want to make sure that we're not talking about excluding men and just working on kids and women. We're talking about this is an opportunity for all men to come in, African American men to come and join to empower the specific focus, which is the youth and the women as well.
Yes. Well, that's the reason I'm here.
Yes.
Is to talk about the opportunity. You can reach us through our email, omega1 incquetj@yahoo.com.
One more time.
Omega1 incquetj@yahoo.com. Or you can call 513-620-2866. Phone is never off. We reach out to all men to have some type of opportunity to work with our young men.
And I love that because a lot of people are looking. And I notice sometimes when I go to particularly some African American churches, it's almost this bewilderment of what do I do with men? We come up with armor bearers and things like that, but some men don't want to be ushers, some don't want to be trustees, and some definitely don't want to be deacons. But what do I do with the men? Here's a perfect opportunity for an outreach ministry that would not only empower the men in the church, but the organization itself. So fantastic. But go ahead, sir.
Well, you know what? To add to that, our pastor, Reverend Damon Lynch Jr., has always supported Omega Mentoring Youth. He's been my pastor and my spiritual mentor for almost 25, 30 years.
Sure. He was a wonderful pastor.
Yes. And he talked about the opportunity to partner with us to bring more youth to Christ. That's why we came up with the program, Bringing Children to Christ.
Sure.
So part of what we're trying to do is reach out to some of those men that are in the church that understand the spirituality that we're missing in our young black males.
Sure.
So I'm reaching out to those men just as much as an average man that may be a garbage man. It's so crazy. We don't look for the scientists. We look for an average man that wants to be committed.
Yeah.
The word is reciprocity. Okay, that means join together.
Sure.
And part of our program is teaching the spiritualness of a man. Even to the point we talk a lot about David and Jonathan. That's a relationship that's really powerful. And that's part of what we're trying to do is build relationships with our young men, with older men, to walk together. So
do you guys also provide the support system for a guy that says, well, I've not always been the best person in the world. I want to do something, but, they may not accept me. I may have some faults and issues and stuff, but I have a heart to serve because I want to see a difference. I'm tired of seeing these kids kill each other. I'm tired of seeing them with their pants down. And so do you guys have that kind of support system as well? I know for the youth, I know for the ladies, but do you have that support as well for the men that will come to your organization and want to volunteer?
Well, our kids know if you're coming for real or if you're not playing with them. So
no, that wasn't my statement, though.
Okay, go ahead.
My statement was, if there was a gentleman that's listening to this program and says, I've been really moved by Anthony Jarrell, and I want to join his organization, but I have no experience, I don't know what's the best way, but I want to be a part of his team. Will they help me to rise to the level where I'm a great asset, knowing the way that they'd like to do things and stuff like that? Do you guys also provide that support?
Training. Yes, training in all areas.
Okay.
Matter of fact, you have to go through training before you can get connected with your kid.
Sure. Okay. Yes. I'm glad you asked that. It's like the Staples button. Boom. That was easy. That was easy.
Yeah, training.
Because I'm telling you something, man. I work in the community. And I'm telling you, man, there's so many guys that want to do something, but I think they want to have the good support as far as strengthen their roots.
Yes.
You know, so that at their roots, they in turn can now grow themselves to be able to produce a strong tree to produce good fruit.
Yes.
But the opportunity for them to be taught basically is very, very difficult.
Yes.
You know, and I wanted to make sure that we had that because, again, we don't want to just throw people out there without that support.
Got you.
You know, and as I said earlier, most people, unfortunately, on the outside, not necessarily those folks who have a vision, look at the fruit, the bad fruit, but they never address the root.
Right. Which is very important.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's what I wanted to make sure that you guys give these guys good foundation because I'm always out there and there's a lot of people that want to participate, want to be a part of this kind of stuff, and they just don't know about it.
Right.
But you're going to come back on the program again, and we're going to talk about it a little bit more. You have an event coming up soon that you were going to tell me about.
Well, there's an event coming up at our church next Sunday.
Let's give the date of it.
June 24th.
June 24th.
At New Jerusalem from 6 to 9. It's dealing with the Enough is Enough voice of the community.
Wow.
Yeah.
So 29th of July. 24th of July.
June,
I'm saying. I'm pushing you in advance, honey. 24th of June at the New Jerusalem Baptist Church.
Yes.
You're having a program. So tell us one more time.
June 24th. It's called One Love Unity.
Wow.
It's dealing with the incidents that's been going on in our community from what happened to our pastor, what happened to a young lady who approached a young man about selling drugs and a thing. We need to come together as a community to figure out what can we do to keep this violence down in our community.
Wow. And of course you're inviting all the city officials and everybody else.
Everybody wants to come listen in here and talk.
I know that's right. One more time, let's give the website and also give the telephone number in case someone has some additional questions.
Okay, you can reach at 513-620-2866.
One more time.
513-620-2866 or omega1incquetj@yahoo.com.
Wow. Well, you guys have it. Well, man, I thank you again.
Thank you.
For coming on the program. Please, anytime you have anything else that's going to be going on, please feel free to come back to Let's Talk, and we can talk about it.
Thank you. And
right.
Thank Waycross.
Absolutely. Of course, all my wonderful staff.
Yes,
Mr. Leslie Calhoun and Steve and everybody, and Butch. I tell you, we got some wonderful people to work with. I'm very, very blessed. So there you guys have it, and we'll be right back after these messages. Hey everybody, welcome back to the program. Hopefully you enjoyed Anthony Jarrell talking about all the activities that are going to be going on in the community as well as a couple of events that's going to be going on at his church. I hope you had your pencil and your piece of paper to write this information down. Well, again, I thank him so very, very much. We always try to bring information. Let me reiterate one more time. July the 29th, Legends of Music Award that's going to take place at Quinn Chapel AME Church, where we're celebrating musicians that have been playing for over 50, sometimes up to 70 years of music. It's an instrumental concert. It's going to take place, again, 29th of July at Quinn Chapel AME Church, located in Forest Park, where Pastor Fred Wright is the pastor, and it's going to be 5 p.m. and it's open to the public, so you want to write that down. So as I promised, we had the lovely lady from Eastern Personnel. She's the CEO, president, and founder of Eastern Personnel. I want to welcome to my table. I'm going to ask my staff to come. I think her microphone just got, you know what, I'm going to have her hold it. That's what we're going to do.
Just hold it.
Okay. Please welcome Miss Angelita Marino-Jones. Welcome to the program, Miss Jones.
Thank you so much for allowing me to be here.
It is such a pleasure to be here. And you know, the interesting part about it, when they told me you were going to be the guest on the show, I said, I know her.
Of course you do.
For many, many, many years. Wow. And I just realized something, because when you first started this, it was over 30 years ago.
It was.
And how many years have you actually you guys have actually been established?
Well, we started in 1987, so we're actually going into our 31st year. So
Wow.
we started off just doing clerical and moved on to labor, professional. Now we do the whole 9 yards.
Wow, how awesome. So many people would say, well, I've heard of Eastern Personnel, and I know you guys do job opportunities, but in the past you've also done things like job fairs as well?
We've done a lot of job fairs. We used to do them all the time in Woodlawn in conjunction with Alicia Reese, and we worked with the mayor of Woodlawn. And we did that for about 4 years. And
Okay.
the market changed a little bit.
Sure.
So we pulled out, and we just attend everybody else's fairs.
How awesome. I see one of the staff coming to reconnect your microphone, so I'm just going to talk just a little bit from camera number 1. Ladies and gentlemen, I do want you guys to definitely get pencils and piece of paper because this is such an important guest today. Mrs. Jones provides opportunity for many, many people. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of Eastern Personnel and know that they get jobs everywhere. They're not just a local company. They are just basically global, basically, really global. So opportunities will exist there if you're looking for some information or opportunity in the skills that you have. I do encourage you to get these numbers as we're going to give them a little later on in the program. So let's go back to, again, my wonderful friend, Miss Angelita Marino Jones. Okay, thank you. We're all hooked up now?
I'm hooked up.
All right, thank you to Mrs. I'm getting tongue-tied. Leslie Calhoun. I was going to say Minister Leslie Calhoun. I was going to say staff, but my wonderful guest coordinator for the show. So let's talk a little bit about Eastern Personnel. I know we're going to talk about the many opportunities that you get. What inspired you? Because when I first met you, you were had another organization, which was Lucky Step, which was a furniture company, which gave very high-end, beautiful furniture.
Thank you.
As I indicated, I still have a piece from it, and it is still wonderful today.
Good. Glad
You
to
know,
hear it.
absolutely. You were always one step in advance. So let's talk about what inspired you to create Eastern Personnel.
You know, to be honest with you, I was in between jobs.
Okay.
And someone said, well, why don't you start your own business?
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, well, I don't cook that well. I really can't sew. And I said, all I can do is interview people. And then that's when the light bulb went off.
Wow.
And I said, well, yeah, I've been a HR director, so I sat on this side of the table. Let me try it from the other side. And I started it. The first quarter, I almost went out of business because my first
Wow.
client did not pay me.
Wow.
And my mother fed me. My father paid the rent. My boyfriend paid my car note.
Sure.
I sold Tupperware. I made wedding cakes with fountains and stairs on them. I hustled.
Wow.
I did everything I could to survive and keep Eastern Personnel going.
Wow, wow. So you were doing little odd jobs just to keep some kind of cash flow as your business was building.
I had to.
Wow.
I don't know today because I don't go to banks today, but back then I had a great business plan,
Mm-hmm.
went to the bank and they said, yeah, this is possible, but you can't do it. So I took that as they didn't think I could do it. And I decided I am going to do it. And
Wow.
I did it.
I love that.
So,
They don't think I'm going to do, or I think I'm going to do it. And then going into the actuality of doing it. How amazing. So that was a motivation for you.
it was just for someone to say, you can't do that. And you've heard a lot of professional people say that maybe their counselor said, oh, you can't do that, go to a trade school. And they become great attorneys,
Wow.
doctors. You have to listen to your inner self
Yeah.
and not pay attention to someone else's opinion.
Certainly.
And that takes a strong person to do that a lot.
Absolutely, and help somebody, excuse me, guest, because I feel someone's at that crossroad
I'm sure.
of making a determination. Do I give up on it because everyone's saying this isn't so-and-so and something, this isn't going to be successful because there are a lot of naysayers. And I know you made the transition and look where we are today, Eastern Personnel.
Eastern Personnel.
And I want to encourage someone that has as much of an important vision as you had with Eastern Personnel to pursue those visions to make it a reality. Can you give those folks that are listening, you made the decision to pursue it, regardless of the obstacles that were in front of you. Can you say something to some of those folks that are listening, what drove you or encouraged them to pursue their vision?
If it's a vision that you have, I would say don't give up on it. Please don't give up on it. And you heard me originally talk about the traditional loans through banks. They're still there,
Sure.
but there's so many different programs now, 30 years later. Just imagine. There's a lot of programs. Some people still can't go to the bank, but there's other ways to get funding. There's
Wow.
funding companies who
Wow.
will fund your invoices
Wow.
to help you get to the next step. So
Wow.
there's a lot of opportunities. There's investors now, things that I just was not aware of 30 years ago.
Wow, how awesome. And you know, and I've known you for quite a while, and I love the simple fact that you're constantly a lady.
Thank you.
And in today's society, I know that some people think image is not that important. And express just a little bit of how important it is, because sometimes people can assess you within 3 minutes or 30 seconds when you walk into the door.
Well, I'm sure you've heard that first impressions are everything, and they are. When we're interviewing someone, sometimes you're not quite sure and you have to keep digging.
Certainly.
But a lot of times when you see their presentation, you know something's not going to work, or you prejudge them. And that's what we do. No matter if we're looking at food, looking at people, looking
Absolutely.
at a home, we prejudge before we really take a good look. And 9 times out of 10, that prejudgment is correct.
Wow.
It's very important if someone is doing something that they present themselves in the correct way. If you're a business owner and you're serious about being business, dependent upon what business you're in,
Certainly.
then be about that.
Absolutely.
It's, I tell you, in my staff, I guess we have close to 20 people now just in the office. And a lot of times the young people will come in and say, wow, I'm really impressed. You guys look so professional, you look nice. And even on our bad days. Because I think sometimes...
You never had a bad.
Oh, yeah. But I think sometimes some of our youth, or younger people, they don't get the opportunity to see a lot of us.
Wow.
Dressed nice in a
Wow.
group. They might see you, but or see some people in church if they attend church. But they might see you walking down the street and say, well, he's dressed nicely. But to go into an office and see so many people who
Certainly.
are professional, treating them nicely,
Wow.
taking care of business, that is not something they see every day.
Wow.
And they comment on it all the time.
Wow. And I agree. You know, people say the times have changed in reference to our perspective on business or the world. You and I had a brief discussion before we went on the air about that business is global. You know, when I say global, if you present yourself as a world worker or marketing in the world and prepare for that, it's a greater probability of success than just a local-minded individual that's going into the workforce. Well, I just want to do this, and I'm not going to really dress. I don't have to do this. I don't have to speak correctly. I don't have to have all the manners and all this other kind of stuff. And I found that holds you back.
It does. It does.
I know you deal with a lot of people, and I want to make sure that people understand that there is something required from us when it comes to entering the business world that can determine our individual success or failure. After interviewing so many people, give some of the outlines of some good things that would be needed before you actually think about entering into the workforce.
I think you should be neat. You should be fresh and clean. And you should not come into an office looking for a job with shorts on, tattoos everywhere. And even if it's not an office, it could be any type of business. Go in politely. Yes, sir. No, sir. And that you don't see a lot of that today, but look at the person in the eye. Just have contact with them and be personable.
Wow.
Everybody has a personality. Sometimes we get in front of other people and we're nervous. So that personality just goes away.
Wow.
But if you're in front of your friends, in front of your family, your loved ones, sometimes that personality is just bursting open.
Yeah.
Well, that's what the employers want to see.
Wow.
Whether it's Macy's, whether it's Eastern Personnel, whether it's Speedy Signs, no matter where you're going, it could be Kroger's.
Wow.
They want to see that personality. And you know for yourself, if you've been someplace shopping and someone has a great personality,
Yes.
don't you feel pretty good
And
about
feel
yourself?
better buying, or
Yes.
more apt to buy from them with a
Yes.
great personality. I agree.
So no one wants someone working for them in any atmosphere that doesn't have some type of personality
Absolutely.
and can't bring something to the table.
Absolutely. We are dealing with not necessarily a generation, but an attitude, because an attitude can be changed. I will not curse the generation of people that do not understand the importance of being an employee for a company. I was at a particular place not too frequent, and the individual was more determined to tell myself, the customer, what they were wanting to do. And I was very polite, but I said, no, this is what I'd like to have as a guest here to enjoy this experience. How important is it for us or people that work to have the right attitude for the people they work for? Understanding that they have an agenda for their business. This is the criteria for the business. When you accept this position, you agree to abide by this.
How important? It's extremely important. And everybody doesn't realize that.
Yes.
Let me just give you an example. There was a young lady who unfortunately just lost her job. And she had been on the job for 5 months. Well, she was absent for 5 days. And she said, well, I've only been absent for 5 days. Well, in her mind, that, 5 days? I've been there 5 months. That's nothing. But to an employer, that's forever.
A lot. Yeah.
That's first 5 months and you're missing days already. That's a lot.
Yeah.
So the mindset is important, and that's something it's missing. We don't know how. We don't. Maybe there was no one in our lives who taught us how. There was a young lady who came in and she had her boyfriend's name, large letters on her arm, which is fine if that's what she wants to do. But then he made the comment, yes, and I'm going to get her name on my forehead. And I had to explain to them why that wasn't a great idea.
Sure.
I have grown men who wear makeup in order to work.
Sure.
Because they don't take the tattoos that they can see.
Sure.
Piercings for a hospital are really taboo.
Wow.
But sometimes we just need to think before we go in. You're not going to a nightclub. You're not. You shouldn't have your head tied up and going in flip-flops, sucking on a Tootsie Roll, asking for a job.
Wow.
You shouldn't go in messy. And let me be clear. I'm not just talking about some people in certain areas.
Certainly.
I've had some professional people who came in flip-flops. And college degree people.
Wow.
And I just did not think that was a good idea. In today's time, unfortunately, a lot of people are smoking marijuana.
Wow.
Well, if it's in your car, it's on you.
Sure.
So when you walk in a place and the employer smells that on you, what do you think they want to hire you?
Of course, because
I don't think they do.
It's an illegal substance, and the fact that there's a fear of possibly associating with all of that stuff that comes along with illegal drugs.
Yes, indeed.
Wow, how
Indeed.
crazy, how crazy. I tell you, Eastern personnel has been a great asset to many, many people as far as providing opportunity. Give a little bit of how broad you guys are when it comes to different job perspectives that can be given to a possible client.
Right now, we place everything from a dishwasher to a doctor. I mean, everything, we run the gamut, everything in between. We have dishwashers in several different places. We have people with felonies that we also place.
Awesome.
We're particular about those because our clients are particular. So we know where to send felons so they don't get embarrassed and they could possibly still get hired.
Wow.
So we place a lot of administrative. We place teachers, assistant teachers, engineers, web programmers.
Wow.
And we do this, people in prisons. We place all through the state of Ohio in different prisons.
Wow.
We have job orders from Indiana, Maryland. We lived in Georgia for a while and Pennsylvania because we had a lot of jobs. So what I'm saying is right now you could walk in the door and have an opportunity that maybe wasn't there the day before.
Certainly.
So we don't know what we're going to have until someone picks up that phone and says, hey, do you have one of these? Hey, I'd like for you to find one of these. Full-time, part-time, weekend work, evening work.
Amazing.
Again, we run the gamut.
Wow, wow. And then for some businesses as well, because we do have business owners that watch our show as well, they can list different positions at your organization as well, correct?
They can. They can.
Okay. I know we're going to give some numbers
Okay.
In just a moment because that is so very, very important. I certainly do want to congratulate you and Eastern Personnel on your support of the community, because in the past you've done workshops with Alicia Reese and many others just to try to get some of the youth, summer jobs and things like that. And you are still yet willing to partner with organizations to provide that information as well?
Absolutely. We currently have partnered with Franklin Leadership Academy to train people how to lay concrete. There's like a 5-week course inside the office and then a 5-week outside. This doesn't cost anything. We have clients who want people who can read a ruler. Well, some of us might know the 1/4 inch, the 1/2 inch, etc. But when you're talking about windows and doors, you need that little bitty thing.
Exactly.
So we train on that. We make sure that they can do it. Some people come to us and they don't have any skills. So we ask them, do you want to be a banquet server? We'll train you how to serve. And these are pretty good, decent paying jobs. So you know, there's janitorial jobs that pay $10. There's janitorial jobs that pay $15. There's teachers' jobs that pay $9, okay? And there's teachers' jobs that pay $40. We don't know, again, what the client's going to ask for, but whatever they ask for, we look up under every rock we can to find the people to go to work.
Wow. So actually the client can actually post, the person can post themselves with your organization and you find jobs for them?
Oh, yeah. We're a staffing agency, a full-service staffing agency.
Wow.
We do full staffing. We staff heavily for the University of Cincinnati. The Great American Ballpark is a new client. We staff during the games, during concerts, and we always clean up the stadium afterwards. We staff for hospitals. We just go on and on. Private organizations, elevator companies, all kinds of different positions.
Amazing. I'm going to get a telephone number and I'm going to get an email address from you because we're going to continue to talk. But I'm going to ask my staff if they would post it so that people can continue to write these numbers down and give you a call. At least to the main office. Please do not ask for Miss Jones, ladies and gentlemen, because
they can ask for me. I'll make sure they get taken care of. And that's one thing, even though we have 20 people and everybody has their own job, and of course I have mine, I still take the time to talk to people, to interview, to talk to clients, and put people together.
Awesome.
I still do that because that's the joy. Of Eastern Personnel
and of course,
me.
knowing your character, you know, you're a hands-on person.
I have to be.
I know. In some cases, it's not that, though, you know, but I applaud you.
Thank you very much. I need success.
Absolutely, absolutely. So encouraging them, like I sung a song, you're the wind beneath my wings. You're the wind beneath a lot of the clients' wings. So thank you very much. Let's get a phone number in there for Eastern Personnel and also an email number so that the people can at least have contact information. I'm going to ask my staff to keep it on the screen while we're talking once we get it. And that phone number is 513, I hope.
421-4666. 513-421-4666. And if there's a resume that you'd like to just send because you don't have the time to call, please send it to resumes@easternhires.com. That's HIRES.com.
Resumes at easternhires.com.
Yes.
Wow. And I hope they got that because I'm going to ask them to keep that up as well. What is one of the most unique positions that you feel since you've been there for 30 years?
Oh, what a question. God.
And I know there are many because if you're a staffing agency, certainly there are some questions and positions. And I'm just trying to get to pick your brain because I'm sure it's fun.
It's a pleasure. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's not rocket science, but once you learn how to do it, it's the people, the contact.
Sure.
You know, matching apples with apples and not pears with bananas.
Yeah.
That's the best thing. The most unusual job we've ever had, I think, was working at the circus. The Soul
I was going to
Circus.
say that. I was just about to say.
The Soul Circus.
Not a clown, I hope.
No, not a clown.
Okay.
But they did everything else. They
Okay.
did everything else, and it was fascinating for the employees because they got to see the animals, they
Yeah.
got to see the clowns,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
they just got to work concessions. They just did a little, just a little bit of everything.
How
and that
awesome.
was probably the most exciting one we had because we did it in Cincinnati.
Yes.
And then we were so good, they called us and said, "Hey, we're in Cleveland. Can you come here?" Well,
Wow.
sure we can. Hey, we're in Philadelphia. Can you come here? Sure we can.
Awesome.
So, yeah, and that's what makes it great when you know you've done a great job for your client,
Yeah.
and they call you again, or you have that employee who said, "Hey, I just wanted you to know that 20 years ago you put me on a job and I'm still here."
Wow.
Or they call and say, "I'm getting ready to retire from my job," and I'm saying, "Okay. You put me here." "Oh, okay." So, those kind of things, after you've been in business so long,
Yeah.
they become very important, and they're very heartwarming.
How
Very
awesome.
heartwarming.
How awesome. And I've said it again, I've said it once, but I'll say it again. I'm just so very proud of you.
Thank you.
Remembering the beginning stages
Oh, my
of
gosh.
Eastern Personnel and your consistent perseverance in establishing such a the reputation for Eastern Personnel is a 5-star.
Thank you.
With the Better Business Bureau and every place else is absolutely fantastic. Let's give that number one more time. I think they have it on the screen, but let's give the number one more time.
It's 513, it's on the screen, 421-4666.
Okay?
And you are so delightful to sit here and talk to.
Well, it is such a pleasure. And, I know you're going to be giving some more events, and you have to promise me that you're going to come back. When you give something, we don't care what it is.
Okay.
Because I think you are the answer to a lot of prayers. A lot of people are wondering, what do I do? And to know that your organization exists, that I can actually come in with a very serious mind to make a difference in my employment, and say I have a reputable organization that can do some things for me, get me into places where I normally would not be aware. And the reason I ask you to identify some of the companies that call you is to let people know that you're a way into those organizations, an easier way into the organization versus going down, putting something online, or going down to the divisions where they hire, where you have to do the applications there. I mean, it's such a great asset for what you do. So I want to make sure that my guests or my listeners get that number and that email if they want to send that resume out to you,
Yes.
because you'll provide them with so many other opportunities. What is your future? I mean, what is the vision you have for the future? I know you guys are wonderful right now. Do you have some other aspirations that you like to do for Eastern Personnel?
Well, one of the things that we've been doing for the last couple of years, we have a vending machine division, and we do vending machines.
So tell me, what does that mean? Because
That
somebody's
means-
thinking, like, vending
That means
machine.
that we put a vending machine in there, and you put your money in there, or swipe your card and get out your soda pop, or your ice cream, or your snacks.
But you own the...
Yes, Eastern Person. That's part of is Eastern's vending, and we also have back office, Eastern back office, and that means if you start a business, and let's say your business is gardening or whatever it is, but you can't do the paperwork and the invoices or write the proposals or make the phone calls, we do that for you.
Wow.
Because there's a lot of people who have great business ideas, great skills, but they don't have that clerical piece
Exactly.
that we help out with.
Exactly. I've always told people the creative folks are the artists. And one thing that the artist usually lacks is the administrative portion.
You're absolutely correct.
And some people are administrative and they have absolutely no artistic ability at all.
Right.
So you guys supply that support system to make sure that there's success, because generally a lot of businesses fail usually in the administrative portion. Either they don't pay their taxes, or they don't have the proper marketing tools, or aware of banking things and stuff like that.
Come see me.
Well, you heard it, ladies and gentlemen. You heard Mrs. Jones say, come see her. The phone number's up there. You guys can definitely write this information down, because this is a wonderful organization. Eastern Personnel, you would do yourself a favor, a great favor, by giving her a call.